Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Murde London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I like to start by saying that this is for entertainment purpose only, strictly entertainment purpose. The reason I always say that is I'm sure many people wonder why he's saying it's for entertainment purpose when this is a horrific crime. And the reason that I'm saying that is on YouTube, it's important that we say it's for entertainment purpose only, because whether it's facts or speculations or rumors, we need to say that so that we just don't get out that impression, give out that impression that somebody is guilty or somebody is innocent. I promised my viewers and subscribers from the beginning that I'm not going to leave any rock unturned. We are all here to get justice for the right reasons. But at the same time, we don't see enough facts. We don't see the 3 unidentified DNA, male DNAs. We don't see the roadmap of the genealogical tests taken by the FBI for BRYAN Kohberger. And that is important that we see everything. Obviously, everything is on gag order. So all we're left to do is sit and speculate. Sit and find theories about what could possibly have happened in this case. I found this clip today, and before I found it, actually I had it on my notes, but luckily I found it today after a couple of weeks. I always had this kind of at the back of my thoughts that I would analyze this a bit and discuss this a bit, because it could be important or it could be nothing. I'm sure most of you are aware of the people who were in the beginning following this case from the start, which I was following the case from the start from the very first day. But like I told you, after a couple of months, at the end of January, I moved on to Nicola Bulley's case in Lancashire, UK. I was too busy and focused with that case. I really wanted justice for the poor 45-year-old mother, which ended up to be ruled out as an accident. Although I do not believe it, but as much as we can try, we try to make sense out of these cases. It's not always it goes the right way. Nicola Bulley's case did not even go to court. It was just an indictment and it was dismissed. It was ruled out as an accident, although her body was found 23 days later. So I was very busy with that case from January to 26th of June. That was when it finally ended. Many people still continue with the case, but I decided to respect the grandparents of the 2 daughters Nicola Bulley left behind. That's her mother and father, because they didn't want this case to drag on, which I do understand. So out of respect, I decided to stop it. When I started this case, when I came back to this case more like, I remember clearly that there was this phone call that was made to Rev's channel. He's a YouTuber, very kind guy, very calm and cool. I just love his live streams. Rev got a phone call in. There's a lot of speculations going on that phone call was actually Brian Christopher Kohberger. Now, mind you, this was before Kohberger was arrested. Like I said. But we don't know Brian Kohberger his voice. We've heard him in the court saying yes, that's it about it. Not even more than 1 or 2 words. So we can't actually speculate. But when you listen to it, some of you all have listened to it, but since this was like 9 months ago, I thought I'd bring it back to the surface, because this would explain kind of a theory that I have actually said before and that I've been thinking about. When I heard this, it was like I got all kind of mixed feelings. I was thinking like, no, it can't be possible. But then I remembered certain things off the phone call, which I'll get to soon. And as soon as I heard that, I kind of got scared. Not scared, I don't know what to say. I was kind of shocked that he said what he said, but then it made a lot of sense, because that was exactly the theory I was thinking about. And after listening to this, it kind of confirms what I was saying. There was a reason I was very focused on the body cams of the alcohol minor stop. There's a reason that I made so many clips about the grub truck, because I always believe that those two and the corner club are all linked into this crime. I don't mean the corner club as the club itself. I don't mean the grub truck as the grub truck itself. I mean the people surrounding it, the people around there. And then we had heard on the news that the Sigma fraternity was under investigation. That just confirmed more, to me at least, of what I was saying, that I was going in the right track. Nobody knows what is the truth and what is false. I'm sure the detectives and the FBI would know more than us. But this helped me to think more about what was said in this phone call. So to start with, remember to take this with a grain of salt. Do not literally believe that it is him, but for me, I believe that it is a huge possibility that it was BRYAN Kohberger calling in. I haven't heard his voice. None of us had heard his voice. But the way he's actually quite intelligent, quite interesting, he's very calm, talks very calmly, takes breaks in between. You can see he's an intelligent person. Although he uses the word like a lot, maybe due to that he's nervous on calling the show. Maybe he thought he could outsmart people, so I'm not sure yet. But what I find interesting is what he's talking about and who he's kind of accusing the crime to. BRYAN Christopher Kohberger allegedly made this post in Reddit when he was doing his psychology in his bachelor's, I believe in D-Cells or Northampton High School, one of them. He made this asking people to participate in his research. I believe we've spoken about that many times. You'll all remember that, hopefully. And since I've seen that, I've always thought that BRYAN Kohberger must have got some people to participate in his Reddits. He says that he believes it's the Sigma fraternity boys that did it. And he doesn't say it in exactly the words I'm saying it, so that's why I'm going to play it soon. But he says something like they approached him and they spoke to him. There were 10 guys and they wanted to know how to get away with Murder. I always had that in my thoughts, especially for the last 5-6 weeks, because no, actually for the last 3 months, since I've been going back from the beginning, I can see that the Sigma Chi boys were under investigation. Then we saw the Forchan posters. All of them were big red flags to me, that there was 3 unidentified male DNAs found. Another red flag, the boys in the body cam in Banfield did not sit well with me. And I always wonder, I even used to discuss with my friends, my family, and used to say, could it be possible that he got participants in the stupid research that he was conducting? That research sat with me for many months because, like I said, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. Psychology is part of counseling. Mental health counseling is part of counseling. We do therapy. Psychologists have their ways of, they do a bit therapy too, emotional therapy and such things. But we have similar backgrounds in education. I know that in mental health counseling, back in uni, although it's been a couple of years, I can still remember clearly, crystal clear. And I mentioned that in one of my clips before. We were not allowed to use participants that are not part of our counseling group. So like if we had psychodynamic students, we had CBT students, we had integrative students, we had different kind of counseling, family counseling, couples counseling, all those. When we put them together, which we all were supposed to take couples counseling, child psychology, there was many things we had like in common that we had to be doing together. But then we had, some would go to psychodynamic, some would go to CBT, some would go to integrative, some would go to child psychology. It's like what we preferred, we went into. I took CBT because I love CBT. CBT is scientifically proven to be one of the best therapies. And it helps me for my own self, for my family, for my friends, loved ones. I would advise anyone who has thought of starting therapy, especially for depression, anxiety, personality disorders, schizophrenia, such things. All kind of counseling is helpful. But CBT, we believe in changing your cognitive. If you change your thoughts, your behavior and your emotions improve rapidly. It's a known fact. I've hardly seen somebody who's taken CBT counseling and said that it was a failure for them. So I remember back in uni, we all were asked to submit what we wanted to take as part of our research. How many participants we're going to have. We're allowed to choose between 16 to 30 to 18 to 4. No, actually not 4, to 6, 8. The more you take, the better. And most of y'all who've done research, especially in university, you will know it's kind of similar, but when you go to psychology and mental health, counseling, and such things, it is more about, since we're going to be working with vulnerable clients and patients, we have to be really careful of, like, everything had to go through the professors to be signed off. Unless we were doing research or a dissertation for fun or for private, which usually people don't do. If you're doing it in university, you're paying a lot to go to university, and you don't even have the time to do things for fun. So I was surprised, and it had to be confirmed, it had to be accepted by our professors and by the university. Others, you couldn't conduct your research and you'll fail your counseling. And I respect them for that. We used to think as students that they were being too harsh and too difficult on us. But later on, as years went by, the more I started working in counseling, started going deeper into mental health counseling, I understood why they put such rules. It's because we're working, like I said, with vulnerable people. We do not want to trigger up our clients. So BRYAN Kohberger, I know, has his PhD in crime and justice. He has his master's in criminology, and he has his bachelor's in psychology. Now, the research that he was conducting on Reddit, that's why I believe it had to be a private research, because that couldn't have, I don't believe that could have gone to the college and university. I really don't believe. Although I've heard one expert saying, who's in crime and justice, a professor in New York saying, or California, saying that there wasn't any red flags that he did that research. She said it's very normal in crime and justice and criminology students to be asking questions like that. Like it wasn't a red flag for. But I'll tell you why actually. I kind of agreed with that at the start, but I'll tell you why it is a red flag for me. Because let's not forget, BRYAN Christopher Kohberger was doing the research in psychology. He wasn't doing it in crime and justice. He wasn't doing it in criminology. So when you're putting out such research in psychology and mental health, that does not make sense. That is really, really shocking. So I remember reading the questions he was asking, and I was thinking, oh, these were not things we were allowed to ask in university. He would have been thrown out of the university immediately. So I'm sure he was doing it, since he did it on Reddit, he must have been doing it privately. So point being, I've been really beating myself hard on asking myself this question. Did he actually get participants? What if it went in the wrong hands? What if it actually got people, just say like Brent Kopacker, may God bless his soul, example, because he could have the experience of not a quadruple murder, but unliving people, since he's a soldier. For whatever reason, I wouldn't know, but I was thinking more like this would be more like a Kohberger thing. No, a Kohberger and a BRYAN Kohberger and Brent Kopacker maybe teamed up. Then a couple of weeks ago, it actually popped into my head while I was actually doing one of these researches on the fraternities and how they work and all. It actually came to me that what if, and I'm saying it's for entertainment purpose only, I'm allowed to speculate in a mindful way. So the idea came to me, the thought came to me, since the Sigma Chi boys were under investigation, since there was interesting things going on with these boys, from the grub truck to the Banfield body cam. You could even hear a girl saying, stop it, all those things, suspicious things, the clothes they were wearing, the boys, the van shoes, they refused to stop for the police. The grub truck, there was many boys from Sigma Chi who were there. Number 9 was giving the sign that he's going to put someone to sleep, and that is right after he spoke to Maddie and he was talking to number 8. So I could see things that wasn't right. And then we had the coroner saying that she doesn't believe a toxicological report is necessary. That really shocked me. That blew my mind. Because you're supposed to take a toxicological report, mostly in every crime. What if the person, trigger warning, was overdosed? What if the person was poisoned to death? You never know until you take a toxicological report. So I found that to be a bit fishy. So I came back to this thought of thinking, what if Bryan Kohberger actually found people for his research? And what if he found the Sigma Chi boys? Because I remember the Forchan video, or not the Forchan video, the Forchan article on Reddit. That was on Reddit too. So what I'm trying to say is Reddit is not one of the sharpest places. People can put in articles. Twitter, everything, people can just put in things out there. But you don't know whose eye it'll catch. And that is very dangerous, very concerning, that Reddit did not put down his research. Was shocking enough. So I was thinking to myself, what if we actually caught up with the Sigma Chi boys and they decided to do this together, allegedly? Or they paid Bryan Kohberger, or something like that. What if they ran across each other? Is one thing I was thinking. And this has been going on in my head for a couple of weeks. But then I used to think to myself, I brought it up I think once or twice, but I used to think, don't talk too much about it, because you don't want to be putting it out there because we don't have the facts. Everything is on gag order. But we are allowed to speculate, we are allowed to think, because I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just saying what I see with my eyes and what I hear with my ears. Now, in this phone call that the so-called Bryan Kohberger called in, it could be somebody else, or in fact it could be someone from the Sigma Chi, or another fraternity, or the suspect who really did this crime. This person, I personally believe, sounds... I haven't heard, let me correct myself, I haven't heard Bryan Kohberger's voice, so I can't say it sounds like him. Or they said only yes in quote, nothing else. That is nothing you can make a judgment or analyze of. But I thought to myself, what if he actually teamed up with the fraternities? The reason I thought of that is because the 4chan post has never sat well with me. That was the one that made most sense, more than anything, more than any speculations, theories put out there, including my own speculations and theories. Sigma Chi boys, the fraternity boys, caught my eye. There's been 2 boys who've been found dead, trigger warning, unlived, whether it's an accident or not, in the Paradise Creek, which isn't far from the fraternities. Then we have this quadruple murders, and we have the 4chan posts. Now when you put that and plus it together, you will kind of see that it is possible that they're involved. The Sigma fraternity boys were the first to come on the scene. They were called by the surviving roommates. For whatever reason, we don't know. Because the police should have been called 8 hours before that. And even if the police wasn't called, they should have called. They had neighbors near them. Why would you need to call the Sigma Chi boys when you have next door neighbors? So that caught my eye more. And then everything that was said in the 4chan, about 19 minutes, not to take their phones. They will get this done in 19 minutes. They will make sure they don't take their phone devices so that the Wi-Fi wouldn't catch them. We saw the 5 figures running, or 4 figures, and that was it for me. And then I saw these 3-4 boys, these 3 boys including Saeed in Banfield, and it bothered me more. It just bothered me more because it started like a puzzle all falling in place for me. I've heard YouTube creators, some of them saying, or at least one or two recently saying that no, the Banfield video is nothing and I don't see much on it, and these are young boys, college boys having a good time. Nothing was right about the video. We speculate in different ways and we analyze in different ways. For me, when I'm watching a clip, I'm not keeping on just watching it over and over again. I'm doing my active listening skills. I'm doing my watching the backgrounds, watching the movements of their bodies, the rise of the anxiety, many things, how anxious they're. I'm following things that are just odd for me. And then I watch it again, and then I see the red flags popping up. That's personally for me. People are different. Some people may not find anything in the grub truck and think that they're innocent. Young people getting a grub, getting a bite. Some people may think the Banfield is nothing but just distraction and there's nothing there. Everyone's entitled to believe what they want. Now, in this clip, Bryan Kohberger calls T-Rev. Please like, share, and subscribe to him. He gets the phone out of the blue. He wasn't expecting the call. And Bryan Kohberger gives his version. Please pay attention to what he says. And we'll talk a bit later about, after this clip, after we hear his conversation, let's talk about, or let me analyze and tell you my conclusion. I really believe that my thoughts about the Sigma Chi boys who were under investigation, who were the first people to be seen in Kings Road at 11:58 or maybe 11 o'clock. Strangely enough, most of the people, college students, knew there was a brutal murder that happened. I remember the rumors going around in the beginning that many students thought it was an overdose, which is interesting. If it was an overdose, that means somebody was doing serious drugs to overdose. Or somebody gave the victims the wrong drugs that they overdosed with. So something never sat well with me. And then there was so many rumors, speculations that was going on, that finally the Moscow police had to go and get the rumor control. I don't think they controlled any rumors. If you ask me, most of the truth is in the beginning. They shouldn't have called it rumor control. Some people were speculating that the victims were gagged up. The police came and said they weren't gagged up. For me personally, I wouldn't say the police are lying, but I would say I've seen things that can make me believe that they were gagged up. Well, we'll come back to that later. Let's listen to Mr. allegedly Bryan Kohberger. Take this with a grain of salt. But when you take this phone call and you analyze it to what we've been seeing with the Sigma Chi boys, they were under investigation. They were first on the scene. The Forchan posts. There was a fight at the Sigma Chi. BF is one of not only the surviving roommates, she has a lot of information allegedly, or she may not have information, but Bryan Kohberger wanted to speak to her because he believed that she would exonerate him. And another important thing, many people have discussed about this and say yes, no, I don't know, I need to research and confirm this, but when Bryan Kohberger was arrested, there was a lot of media news reporting that he asked his lawyer in Pennsylvania, have you arrested the others? I've heard some channels debunking it, but I'm not going to debunk it, and I'm not going to say it's true. I need my time to do more research on it. and nobody could answer the question except his lawyer in Pennsylvania. But it was going around a lot, and I remember hearing it on a news channel. So imagine if that is true, and he asks, have the others been arrested? Then there's definitely others in this picture. Who's the others is he talking about? Then when I listen to this phone call, I'm going to get quickly to the phone call that he calls T-Rev, because you must be thinking, shorten it with it, just put it on, let us hear what he says. But when you get to this phone call and you hear what he says about the Sigma Chi boys, you'd be like, things that make you go, there is something there. I always believe that Bryan Kohberger, there's many puzzles missing with him that doesn't make sense for me. He's phone pinged there. I know he can just go around the areas. He could have gone there to be framed by the girls. He could have gone there because somebody called him, allegedly. He could have gone there because he was a peeper, peeping through the windows. He could have gone there to buy drugs, allegedly. He could have gone there for any reason at all. I'm not going to speculate the reason he was going there. Sabri, the leather knife sheet, is another one that I wonder if it's his leather knife sheet. It's touch DNA. So anyone's DNA, it could be, yes, it could be planted, it may not be planted, but there is things that are a bit fishy with Bryan Kohberger that I personally am not happy to see that I rule him out. I believe that the knife sheet was found in Maddie's room, so I wonder if Bryan Kohberger could have got himself involved in the quadruple murder through, allegedly, the Sigma Chi boys, since they said in Forchan that they wanted there were three targets, Maddie, Ethan, Xana, and I believe, may the rest in peace, Kaylee was someone's target, because Kaylee, I've been reading articles, different articles, and they're all, it's not like one or two articles, it's a lot of articles from different big-time news channels and news articles and all, saying that Kaylee got it the worst. We remember the coroner saying that she had gorges, and she had open wounds and such things. So I don't believe the same weapon was used in this crime. I found another article that's very interesting that I'm going to do in my next clip tomorrow, that I believe that could have been one of the reasons Kaylee was a motive. And it has nothing to do with cults or nothing to do with drugs, but maybe indirectly. Indirectly, I would say. Could be possible. Or maybe nothing to do with that at all. Maybe it could do with jealousy and hate from the other girls, the sororities, or the frat boys themselves. So I'll just play this. This is from T-Rev, his channel. It's all allegedly. I repeat it, allegedly. Speculations. It's not a fact, because we don't know who made this call. It could have been one of the Sigma Chi boys too. It could have been someone in the college who was playing a prank. We don't know who sent this, but this could be possibly Bryan Christopher Kohberger. I wonder what happened to that Hyundai Elantra, or that white car. It looked more like the one at the gas station. Pay attention to that. I heard Jack D. This was in front of his house. I believe it belonged to him or his parents. I don't understand why he was ruled out so quickly. I don't understand why John S. Showalter was ruled out so quickly. The Fraternity boys. And I won't be surprised if this call is really Bryan Kohberger, and if one of these people, or 10 of these people, like the caller says, was working with him. It'll make more sense because they had motive. Kohberger didn't have motive. And if Bryan Kohberger said, have you all caught the others? That is a very important line. If he said that, allegedly, then it's starting to make sense. So please like, share, and subscribe to TREV, this channel. This is for fair use purpose.
From
Dave.
Hey, what's up, Dave? You live?
Hey, what's up, man? Is this T-Rev?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Not much, man. I found you today. I watched your live earlier this afternoon and been watching this one. And the thing that strikes me kind of weird about all this is that I live in a college town, and I've worked with probably at least 10 Sigma Chi members. And, you know, the one thing that every single one of them I feel like has asked me is, if you were going to kill somebody, how would you get away with it? And I just wonder if maybe this is nothing more than some kid in a fraternity trying to prove himself. And that was it.
So you said you worked with 5 or 6 Sigma Chi kids, and they asked you if you can kill somebody, they can get away with it?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah. And I know that's a thing that just like maybe people say, trying to like have interesting conversation, but like just in my head, it's like it's always been these dudes that were in the fraternity. And so it makes me wonder if it's a thing that's in their like culture, that they ask to see how smart you are and whatever, and what kind of answer you come up with, and someone took it too far.
Oh wow! What kind of dudes would ask you that?
Well,
that's crazy as shit, man. That's an outrageous statement, man. I'd write their names down.
Yeah, man. Like you know, I like horror movies and all that kind of stuff, and I'll watch those kind of things. But like when someone like in person says some stuff like that, it's kind of like jarring. It's like, what? Why are you saying something like that?
Yeah, that's man. Who said that to you?
Like, literally, like, I before I even called, I counted on my hands, like how many of these guys I can remember that I worked with at this bar, and there's like 10 of them. And I swear that question has always come up, and it could just be nothing. Like maybe people say that, but it makes me wonder if that's a part of that thing, and like someone just took that question and that idea and like took it too far. Like, oh, I'm going to prove to these guys that I'm in the club or whatever.
So let me hear this right. You said you were working with 6 Sigma Chi guys, and they said how could they get away with killing somebody?
Yeah, more like 10. But they would say that to me. They would say like,
you are fake news.
If you were going to kill somebody, how would you get away with that?
And
you know,
what are these guys' names?
Well, I'm not going to.
Let me get come on, drop 2 or 3 of them, first and last.
First and last?
That's a broad statement. I mean, you're calling me with this information when you should be on the phone with the police.
Well, I'm in a different state.
I don't care if you're in Mexico. If that's the case, and the people from the Sigma Chi told you that how can you get away with murder? I mean, I'd be on the phone telling them that.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe it's like an exercise of like, if you were going to make pasta for 100 people, how would you like prepare? How would you like execute that? Like, it's not like they're actually asking you because they want to do it. It's more like, how smart are you? How good are you? That's what I'm getting at, is that maybe they're saying, I'm going to present you with this question and see like how, capable you are like with problem solving and this and that. And maybe somebody at that fraternity took that question and took it too far.
So you're saying, so you were saying you were in Moscow.
No, I wasn't in Moscow. No, I'm in a different state.
So, but you're saying you're in a different state, but you just said Sigma Chi House people, that's how they would get away with murder. So how would somebody ask you that if you're in a different state? Where did that come from?
I guess what
you went from 5 to 10, so I mean, honestly, it doesn't even say, it sounds inconsistent.
No, I worked with at least 10 Sigma Chi members, but it was in a different state, not in Moscow, in a different state. I'm just saying maybe the culture of that fraternity, like they have questions that they ask, and maybe somebody took that question too literally and too seriously as a way to prove themselves.
And what state are you in?
I'm in Utah.
So, I mean, you can't give up the identity of anybody who asks you that? You don't think that's important to the families that need justice? That, these people that could be there?
I worked with these people. This is probably 10 years ago. I'm not trying to say that I know the literal people. This is more of a, me kind of scrutinizing the culture of like, secret societies or whatever, like, fraternities, like this club mentality, like, our group and our thing, which I don't have a problem with it necessarily, but it's a thing that's kind of been in the back of my mind through all this.
I mean, that's pretty crazy, man. I'm just trying to figure out, like, who would ask you that and why you wouldn't even report something like that. If somebody asked me that shit, you wouldn't report that to the authorities?
I just kind of thought they were kind of trying to be edgy or something, Like, if you ran over your neighbor's dog, how would you get away with it? Kind of that kind of attitude.
Yeah, but why would that conversation even come about?
I don't know. That's my thing. That's why it's.
And you're saying you're a teacher?
Stuck with me. I'm not a teacher, no. No, I worked at the bar with some frat boys.
Okay.
But it just makes me wonder if the culture of fraternities and that kind of thing, the things that they do, maybe it went too far.
I don't know, man.
Does that sound like a thing? Have you heard anything like that, or I don't know?
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, I just don't understand how. First of all, how old are these people that you were working with? How old do you think they are now?
A lot of them are probably in their late 30s, early 30s. And I don't think they had anything to do with this. I'm just wondering more about, like, if the Greek, the fraternity, sorority thing, like, if they've got stuff going on in there that, like, someone feels like they got to prove themselves, and they take a benign kind of question that's more about trying to, ask you like to prove yourself, how smart you are, and they took it too far.
Okay. Trying to think here, man. So, are these people that you seen on a regular night basis at where you worked at the bar? Or are these people that
Yeah, I worked with them.
So, How do you know? And you said you never lived out there. So
No.
how do you know they went to the Sigma Chi?
Because because I know they did. Like some of them lived at that house in Utah where I live. I just, I'm not saying that all fraternity members are murderers. What I'm saying is like maybe questions like that and things,
No. I get what you're saying on that end. I'm asking you, how do you know they were at the Sigma Chi? Because if you live in Utah, how do you know all these 10 guys, 5 to 10 guys,
all fraternity members are murderers? What I'm saying is like maybe questions like that and things,
No. I get what you're saying on that end. I'm asking you, how do you know they were at the Sigma Chi? Because if you live in Utah, how do you know all these 10 guys, 5 to 10 guys, went to the Sigma Chi? In case you're friends with them, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I worked with them, and then I'd actually been up to their house at like some parties before.
Okay.
It wasn't.
I'm not trying to back on you, but I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to grasp how you knew these guys, or you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to grasp how you knew they went to the Sigma Chi. How? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, some of them lived there, and I went up there and like hung out, and like they were all nice and everyone was pretty cool. I guess I'm wondering if there's like a thing, because they have secret things they do in those fraternities, and it makes me wonder if like, questions like that, like, if you were going to murder somebody, how would you get away with it? That's maybe more trying to like figure out like how smart you are. Somebody took it too literally and thought they could prove themselves. That's kind of my only thing, and that's why I don't know. That's why I call like that. Like, if you were going to murder somebody, how would you get away with it? That's maybe more trying to like figure out like how smart you are. Somebody took it too literally and thought they could prove themselves. That's kind of my only thing, and that's why I don't know. That's why I call.
I'm just trying to figure out, I'm really just trying to figure out how you knew that. First you said 5 and then it jumped to 10.
No, it was 10.
Well, first you did say 5 though.
Oh.
You said 5 guys and then you jumped up to 10. And I'm just trying to figure out how you knew that. I don't know the Sigma Chi like that. All I know is this Sigma Chi house is in Moscow, Idaho. So
yeah, and I'm not saying that Sigma Chi's are murderers. That's not what I'm trying to say.
No. I didn't say you were saying that, but to say that they asked how do you get away with a murder, that's just it's a broad statement.
Yeah, man. It's a jarring thing to hear. It's like, what? Like, we're having some beers. Why are you asking questions like that? That's, and I don't think they were asking for advice. I think it was more of a mental exercise. But to me, it's like not that. It's not a cute question. It's messed up.
Right. Huh. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I mean, you did say 5 at first and then changed it to 10.
Well, okay. Well,
you did. I'm just saying you did. I pay attention to what people say.
Okay. Yeah. That's.
But I mean, I don't. Maybe it was 6, 7, 8. I don't. Maybe you can't retract all the way and just said 5 because you were nervous. I have no idea.
I am nervous. I don't normally like call into things and do this kind of thing, but like this has been a thing in the back of my head after like hearing about this stuff for the last few weeks, and it's, I don't know. I just wonder if if this was even more senseless than a jealous boyfriend or whatever. Like if it was just someone trying to prove themselves, and that's it.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe this is an inappropriate call for your show, but I just
No, I mean, you
throw it out there, man.
said Sigma Chi guys, but I mean, if they're in their 30s, it wouldn't. I'm pretty sure most of these other dudes are what? Are they any of them that go to the college now?
Oh no, I'm saying they're probably in their 30s now. At the time that I worked with these guys like 10 years ago.
That's
I'm not trying to say it's any of these guys. I'm more just going. I'm just trying to say like maybe that they have the culture of fraternity life has weird questions and weird stuff that comes up, and maybe that's what motivated someone to do something like this.
Right. Now, just when I hear something like that, when I hear something like that, you're like 5 to 10 dudes. You did say 5, and then you changed it to 10, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that you're just nervous. But I put it like you were like, they asked you how they can get away with murder or killing somebody or whatever. That just strikes me as super odd. That somebody would even ask you that,
Yeah, they asked me like, how would I do that?
Yeah, how would I? Yeah, how would you do that? That's just
I'm like, I don't know. I don't think about stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something I thought I'd throw out there. Anyways, I subscribed, and I've enjoyed like listening to your live stream and everything. So thank you. I'll let you get to the next caller, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Keep up the good work, dude. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Weird for me, but anyways.
Why does his pant look like it has dry red liquid? It has blood. The one on the right-hand side.
2, 3, 4. Almost as though they're walking in single file. Out at night, at 3 o'clock in the morning, actually closer to 3:12 in the morning. And as you watch those 4 figures, remember, police say the murders happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. Did those people see something? Who are they? How police tracked them down, asked them any questions, ruled them out. And again, if they're ruled out, did they see something as they were on foot, walking just steps away from where the murders happened? We do not have the answers to this, any of it. But as usual, for us looking at it on television, it's hard to get the exact perspective of where the officers were standing, what direction their body cams were pointing, and where those four mysterious figures were walking from and to, and how far away they were from the actual murder scene. So can you take me there and help us get a feel?
Yeah, it's very confusing when you're looking at the body camera video, so hopefully we can give you some perspective. This is Band Field. This is where the alcohol call came in. The young men were here in the field when the police first showed up. That is the Sigma Chi fraternity house right there. So the police walked those young men across the street. This is Taylor Avenue, right to this spot right here. I was able to identify it because of the fire extinguisher. And they were standing, body camera video was pointed this way. And it is over my shoulder where you could see, very faintly what looked like several people walking fast or almost running by in the background. And I want to walk you over actually and give you a little more perspective. It was somewhere in this area right here. And we can tell because we analyzed these lights of this little apartment building. It was somewhere right in this area. There's another big apartment building here. The question you might be having is, how close is this to the house where the murders happened? Mo is gonna point in that direction. Our producer is up there. She's gonna flash a flashlight, actually. You see that flashlight flashing right there? That is right in front of the house where the murders happened. So it's all very, very close.
So what we're effectively seeing is, like, if my eyes don't deceive me, about 200 yards away from where Mo is flashing the light at the murder scene, those four figures were walking where you're standing. It's that close.
It's that close, and it appears, again, it's so hard to see it in that body camera video, but when we zoom in, it does appear that the figures are walking / running from the direction of where the house is where the murders happened. At first, I thought they were just walking down Taylor Avenue, but when I got out here and really looked at everything, it appears they might actually be coming somewhat from the direction of the house.
And then just point to what direction they're headed. From where I'm looking at you straight on, just point the direction they were headed.
Okay, let me show you again. So up there on the hill, that's where the flashlight is flashing. That is where the house is where the murders happened. It appears they were coming from that direction, and that they were going this way, back towards Bandfield, back towards the Sigma Chi house, where the police were.
So that was the BRYAN, Christopher Koberger, allegedly his phone call to T-Rev. Please like, share, and subscribe to him. I'm sure most of y'all have heard about this phone call, and you must have been even live in the chat when it happened. I don't know about your personal meanings, opinions, theories about this, but this is exactly what I personally feel. For me, it's starting to make sense for me, honestly. Because the Sigma Chi boys, and it's strange that he kept on mentioning Sigma Chi, the Delta Tau Delta Fraternity, because they were involved in Hudson Lindo, his last whereabouts. That's the young boy who froze to death, trigger warning, and who was found in the Paradise Creek. There was another young man called Joseph, who the same unfortunate incident happened to, and they all all these three incidents, including the Idaho, Moscow quadruple, have something in common. All three of them, the 4 quadruple murders, Hudson Lindo, and the third person is the 2013 Joseph. All of them were found dead or murdered after they went to a fraternity party. The place that the incident that Hudson Lindo lost his life in 2022, a couple of months before the quadruple murders, that place is, strangely enough, that incident, Kaylee and Zana and Maddie and Maddie's boyfriend all attended, and John Showalter all attended the party that Hudson Lindo was present in. I don't believe in coincidence, do y'all? Yes, coincidence can happen, but not that often. Now, what is interesting is that the person, the caller, I'll call him the caller, the unknown caller, anonymous caller that called, could be Bryan Kohberger or may not be Bryan Kohberger. In fact, it could be a Sigma Chi boy, fraternity boys playing tricks. It could be another fraternity who have beef with Sigma Chi who are trying to frame them. But I believe it's Bryan Kohberger. Now, the question I am asking myself that I'm trying to dig up into is, if this is Bryan Kohberger, obviously he's going to say he lives in Utah and the incident was from 30 years. He said that the guys that told him how to, who asked him, how do you commit a murder, obviously didn't ask him 10 years ago, like he said, or a couple of years ago, like he said. And he said that happened in Utah. He said the boys would be by 30 years old now. That's impossible if it's Bryan Kohberger. But I believe it is Bryan Kohberger, either trying to boost his own ego of the horrific crimes he's committed, or maybe it's Bryan Kohberger telling us the truth, that the fraternity boys asked him how to get away with murder. Now, if you go and research how many people Googled up or researched how to get away with murder in Idaho, Moscow, right before the 4 quadruple victims died, it was going up. The statistic was going from low to high. Isn't that strange? So it could be, just say Bryan, allegedly who committed the quadruple murders, who was keeping on checking every day, but I don't think so. This was going really up. So it could be the fraternity boys, like he said, were interested in these murders. And let's think about one thing. They could have found Bryan Kohberger, allegedly, through his research participants, where he wanted to know how people commit murders and get away with it. Trigger warning. Another person that I believe could allegedly be involved, and I'm saying allegedly because I haven't ruled him out. Sorry, I haven't ruled the person out. May God bless him. Thanks for his services for his military and his country. Brent Kopacker, because he has military skills. We've seen so many horrific, disturbing things with Brent Kopacker himself, with all the knives and all. And what is strange is the caller, if it's Bryan Kohberger, said that he watches and likes horror movies. Brent Kopacker loved horror movies. He used to collect all kind of masks, all kind of machetes. So I'm just wondering if Brent Kopacker, Bryan Kohberger, and the fraternity boys were working together. like John Showalter, or maybe the Sigma Chi boys. So him to keep on repeating Sigma Chi boys, it had to be the Sigma Chi boys. He said maybe they wanted to prove a point. What about the two Davids, David Lodge and the other David? What about, allegedly, what about the three guys in the Banford stop? They're from the Delta Fraternity. Saeed, I believe, that's allegedly. Saeed is from the Sigma Chi fraternities. Too many people were out that night, although the police says it was a quiet night, very strangely. And everyone says it was awfully quiet night. Inan Hush could have been involved, allegedly. We don't know how many people participated in this quadruple murder. But I believe it was a bunch, if you ask me, because we saw those figures running and there's several people. There were over 4, 5, 6 people even maybe. Then you saw the people in the sick. Then we had the grub truck people, obviously, who were acting really fishy. We had hoodie guy there. We saw those two guys, the one with the glasses and the one who throws away his food, allegedly. All those people, number 9, number 8, number 9 said he's going to put someone to sleep like that, clearly. All those are suspicious behaviors and they all could have been involved. But let's not forget, if that is Bryan Kohberger, he could be actually saying the truth and giving us hints that he knows that they are up to no good and that they asked him how to get away with the murder. Let's not forget the Sigma Chi boys have the most motive here than anyone else for me. They said in their Forchan, although Forchan is just articles and it's not serious, and many people say it's just a joke website and whatsoever, I never take things lightly. I always start with and I always end with what's the motive. The Sigma Chi boys were under investigation. The Sigma Chi boys were the first on the 911. Before the 911 was called, the Sigma Chi boys were called. A call was made from the Sigma Chi or to the Sigma Chi. Somebody made a call that there was a fight in the Sigma Chi. Why was the Sigma Chi under investigation? Why was the police asking the public for Eaton and Xana's timeline? All this, when you put it together, I say allegedly, I believe the call, I personally believe it was Bryan Kohberger. It could have been someone from the Sigma Chi or from another fraternity trying to blame it on the Sigma Chi's, or actually giving us a hint that it was them. They had all the motives. I still believe it was them. Until I see something else, I'm not taking my eyes off them, allegedly. I won't be making rumors and speculating about them. I'm following the facts. And the facts are that there was a fight in the Sigma Chi. Eaton and Xana were there the last night of their lives. Obviously, when T-Rev was asking him, Bryan, or asking the caller, why did you say 5 and why did you say 10? Yes, T-Rev was right. He did say at one time 5. He said a group of people said 5, then he said 10. But then I wouldn't take that so seriously because he's trying not to expose himself, obviously. So either Bryan Kohberger helped these boys. I can picture these boys coming and asking Bryan Kohberger, how do I get away with murder? So I'd just like to end by saying, please think about it. This is for speculation purpose only. This is not based on facts. I'm going to be straight out there because it was a caller that everyone speculated was Bryan Kohberger. But I believe the people who speculated it have a good reason to speculate it, and I do speculate that it is Bryan Kohberger. It does make a lot of sense when we're wondering how come Bryan Kohberger said, were the others caught? He did actually say that. I've read that many places. And I'll find, when the lawyer says that, or I'll find articles in the New York Post or wherever and come back with that to show it to y'all. I'll show you all the receipts that Bryan Kohberger's lawyer said that he was eager to get exonerated, and he asked, was the others caught? I think it was Brian Enton, actually, who said that from News Nation, and I'm sure he got it from some source. And I'll find out if there's more articles about that. But this makes a connection. If this is Bryan Kohberger with the Sigma Chi boys, he had to say he's from Utah, because obviously he's not going to say he's from Idaho, Moscow. But I liked one thing, he kept on saying, I'm from a different state. He's right. Washington Pullman is a different state. So I believe it makes sense. So maybe Brian, unfortunately, helped them out or did it with them, and they framed him. Or allegedly, Bryan Kohberger could be innocent and the Sigma Chi boys did it, but he did not know that he was giving them advice about how to clean a crime scene. Or maybe with his twisted mind, Bryan Kohberger helped them to see if he could get away with murder. So the main thing is the Sigma Chi boys really need to be investigated. I hope the FBI looked into this call. I believe T-Rev did a fantastic job with this call. And yeah, guys, that's all I have to say. I know it's a lot to take in, but think about it with an open mind. Some things may make sense and some things may not, but when you combine this all, it does make sense. Keep a close eye with the Sigma Chi boys, because I'm not accusing them, but I know that they weren't up to any good that night. Number 9, number 8, David Lodge, and many of the other boys from the Sigma Chi and other fraternities were in the grub truck video. Pay attention to all the actions happening. And you had Saeed from the Sigma Chi on the Banfield stop. You had the other 3 boys who are either from the Delta, Tau, Delta, or they could have been from the Sigma Chi. The figures were running towards the Sigma Chi, most likely. So put all that together, and then the Sigma Chi boys were called at 9, the 911 call. They were called before the 911 call. So that is my observation. That is the analyzation I personally make. This is about a professional analyzation. This is my analyzation. And I was always searching for the missing piece. I believe I found it now. The person that called in, if that was Brian, he was giving us a hint that either he was involved or either the Sigma Chi boys went out, did this on their own, and he called in because he understood that the joke went too far. They must have asked him questions about how to get away with murder, and they did it. So it's one of the two. Maybe Brian is so confident and Ann Taylor is so confident because they know the 3 unidentified DNA belong to the Sigma Chi boys. Maybe Brian wasn't involved, or maybe he was involved by guiding them to murder. I find it interesting that Kaylee Congavs bought her car on the 12th, on the 11th, one of the two. So it was literally one day or the same day when she came back to show her friends and the sororities. Was somebody jealous of her? Did that raise a motive? Was somebody, because she got the most wounds, let's not forget that. That's important. We all focus on Maddie because the knife sheath was lying next to Maddie. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Maddie was the target. But it can mean that they all four were the target, I believe. And I don't believe the same weapon was used on them. That's why I believe it's a group of people who did it. We saw the group of figures running. The police always told us that this crime happened between 3 to 4 in the morning. We heard a girl, a female, crying or yelling, "Stop, stop it, stop." What was going on in the field, or what was going on in Kings Road? We saw the figures running. 2:55 and 16 seconds is when we hear "stop it, stop." And 3:12 is when we see the figures running. That's 20 minutes. What happened? Didn't the Forchan post say that the Sigma Chi boys, the Davids, were going to do it within 19 minutes without taking their phones? Is that what happened? Think about that. Take care, guys. Have a lovely weekend. Stay blessed. Look after yourselves. Look after your mental health, physical health. Be kind to one another. Be kind in the comment section. I really wanted to thank you. I appreciate the kindness and everything written there. I do get a bit of hate sometimes, and I expect in this video maybe to get a bit of hate and a bit of, kind of threats even. And I know it's the people that I'm talking about that's behind it, and I really don't care, because I want justice for Kaylee, Zana, Ethan, and Maddie. I believe they all were the targets. Somehow, some way, they all were the targets. They had no chance. And the surviving roommates did not call the police for 8 hours. It's a very concerning, worrying situation there. That they called the Sigma Chi boys first says a lot. That's a red flag. That they decided to stay in the house after they saw a man with black clothing and a mask is another concern. All these things are real concerns. Take care. Please like, share, and subscribe, because that helps me to spread awareness. Thank you. Condolence to the families, and may justice be properly served.